Hey everyone. So when you picture a hacker, what do you see? Probably someone in a hoodie, surrounded by glowing screens, typing like mad, creating some kind of digital magic to break into the most secure systems on Earth, right? Well, today we're going to tear down that whole myth. We're going to reveal the hacker's real secret. And it has way less to do with magic and a lot more to do with something much simpler: negligence. Let's just kick things off with this idea right here. Just let that sink in for a second. No system is secure, only temporarily lucky. This is the perfect way to start because it flips the whole script. It tells us that security isn't some fortress you build one time and then forget about. No, it's a constant race to find and fix the cracks. So, okay, what is this big secret then? Well, it really means we have to completely shift how we think about what hackers actually do. It's not so much about them inventing something brand new, it's more about them finding something that we left behind. And here's the first piece of the puzzle. This is a huge one. Hackers aren't these digital wizards who just conjure up a brand new way into a system out of thin air. That's not how it works. So, if they aren't making the weaknesses, what on earth are they doing? And boom, there it is. This is the absolute core of it all. Hackers find our mistakes. They find the things we overlooked. They find the corners we cut, the things we just forgot to do. They find our negligence. It's not about being a genius inventor, it's about being a really, really good detective. And this just nails the root cause, doesn't it? At the end of the day, security almost always comes down to people. A system can be designed like a masterpiece, but if one person gets lazy, maybe with a password, or they forget to install an update, well, that's the opening. That is the exact negligence we're talking about. All that human laziness, it creates these weaknesses, or what the pros call vulnerabilities. Honestly, the best way to think of them is just as unlocked doors. They aren't kicked in by force, they're just left open. So let's take a closer look at what these unlocked doors actually are. All right, first, let's just be clear on the term. The official name for one of these unlocked doors is a vulnerability. But here's the part that I think is so important. It's not always a software bug. We get this idea that hackers are exploiting these super complex coding mistakes, and yeah, sometimes they are, but that is only a tiny part of the story. In reality, some of the most common vulnerabilities are way, way simpler. Bad configuration? That's like leaving the factory default admin password on your new Wi-Fi router. We've all seen that. Outdated software? Come on, you know that little update available notification you've been ignoring on your phone for weeks? That's it. And human error? That's as simple as clicking a sketchy link in an email. See? It's all just negligence. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. You might think these unlocked doors, these vulnerabilities, are some big secret, right? Whispered about on the dark web? Nope, not at all. They are known. They are actually cataloged, indexed, and published in a global database for absolutely everyone to see. I love this question because it frames the next part perfectly. Okay, so we know all these different types of doors exist. But how does a hacker know which specific one is unlocked on any given system? Well, it's easy. You just look it up. And the place you look it up is called the CVE list. You can think of it like an encyclopedia of digital weaknesses. Every single publicly known vulnerability gets its own unique ID number, like a serial number. This lets all the security pros and, yeah, the hackers talk about and search for a very, very specific flaw. So a typical entry is super simple. It looks something like this. You've got the unique CVE ID and then a plain English description of what it does. This one, for example, basically says it lets an attacker run their own programs on someone else's computer. It's a public record, a known, specific unlocked door. Okay, so this might all sound a little abstract, a little theoretical. Let's make it real. We're going to look at a notorious real-world example of how just one of these publicly listed vulnerabilities caused total global chaos. I'm guessing you've probably heard of this one, EternalBlue. That was the CVE number we just saw on the last slide. It was a weakness in older versions of Microsoft Windows, and when it was exploited, it led to some of the biggest, most disruptive cyber attacks in history, like the WannaCry ransomware attack that crippled hospitals and businesses everywhere. And it all started with just one known cataloged weakness. And here's the kicker. You can see all of this for yourself. This isn't secret agent stuff. Seriously, open a new tab right now and search for Windows 7 EternalBlue. You will find thousands of articles, YouTube videos, technical guides. The information is out there for anyone. The knowledge was public. The negligence was not installing the security patch that locked that door. Which brings us to the good guys in this story. ethical hackers or security researchers, they use this exact same playbook. They hunt for bad configurations, for outdated software, for human error. They use the CVE database every single day. Their entire job is to find these unlocked doors and help us get them locked before a criminal stumbles upon them.
So, let's wrap it up right where we started. Now that you know the hacker's secret isn't some dark magic, it's just discovering negligence, that opening quote hits a little different, doesn't it? So ask yourself, are the systems you use every single day really secure? Or are you, and are they, just temporarily lucky? Think about it.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into the world of cybersecurity and asking a really important question. What is a vulnerability? We're going to uncover the surprising truth behind how hackers really get in, and trust me, it's probably not what you think. Let's get right into it. Wow, that quote really sets the stage, doesn't it? We have this image of hackers as these all-powerful digital wizards who can just break through any defense with pure genius. It's a pretty scary thought, right? It makes it feel like no matter what we do, we're always just one move away from being compromised. But is that really the whole story? So let's challenge that myth, because what if the hacker's greatest weapon isn't some crazy complex secret code they cooked up in a dark room? What if their real secret is actually something way, way simpler and a lot more human? Okay, so here's the first piece of the puzzle. You see, contrary to what you see in the movies, the most effective hackers aren't usually creating brand new, magical ways to get into a system. They're not just inventing flaws out of thin air. They're actually doing something completely different. And this is the absolute key. Hacking, when you get right down to it, is really just the art of discovering negligence. It's about finding the mistakes, the oversights, and, the shortcuts that people have already made. They're not kicking the door down, they're just walking down the hallway, checking every doorknob, looking for the one someone forgot to lock. All right, so what do these unlocked doors actually look like in the digital world? What kind of negligence are we really talking about here? Let's break down the anatomy of what makes a system weak. The official term for one of these unlocked doors is, you guessed it, a vulnerability. But here's what's so important about this definition. A vulnerability isn't always some million-dollar, super complex flaw in the code. A lot of the time, it's a simple, totally preventable weakness. And this slide just perfectly illustrates where that negligence comes from. Think about it. Bad configuration? That's like buying a $1,000 safe but leaving the factory password as 0000. Outdated software. It's like using a lock on your front door from 1985 that every burglar on the planet knows how to pick. And human error? Well, that's the most common one of all. That's just plain forgetting to lock the door behind you. And really, it almost always comes back to this. Technology can be amazing, it can be powerful, but it's still being configured, updated, and used by people. And the moment we get a little complacent, a little lazy, well, that's when we create the exact openings that attackers are hunting for. So if these unlocked doors are potentially everywhere, made by all sorts of different human mistakes, you have to wonder, how on earth does the security community keep track of it all? I mean, it would be total chaos otherwise, right? Well, luckily, there is a system. There's a way to catalog every known unlocked door so that the good guys, the security pros, and the ethical hackers can find them and help get them fixed before the bad guys exploit them. And that system is called CVE. It stands for Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant public library for security flaws. Anytime a new vulnerability is discovered, anywhere in the world, it gets its own unique CVE number. That way, everyone can talk about and track the exact same problem without any confusion. So here's a super simple look at what an entry looks like. Every single one gets a unique ID. That YYY part is just the year it was found. And right next to it, you get a clear description of the problem. All of this gets logged in public databases, creating this massive global reference guide for every digital weakness we know about. Okay, that's all been a bit abstract, I get it. So let's make it real. Let's talk about one of the most famous and devastating unlocked doors in recent history, just to see how all this stuff plays out in the real world. You've probably heard of this one, EternalBlue. It was this massive vulnerability found in older versions of Microsoft Windows. Honestly, it was the digital equivalent of finding a master key that could unlock millions and millions of computers all over the world. And it was used to power huge cyber attacks. Maybe you remember the WannaCry ransomware attack. That was it. And here's something cool you can do to connect all these dots yourself. Next time you have a minute, just open a search engine and type in Windows 7 EternalBlue. You'll find the official CVE entry for it, you'll get to see exactly how it was documented, and you'll get a real sense of why having this standardized system is just so incredibly critical for cybersecurity. Which brings us right back to where we started. Knowing that security flaws are so often just a matter of simple negligence, an update we forgot to install, a password we never changed, a setting we just overlooked, it kind of forces you to ask yourself, is my digital life actually secure? Or have I just been lucky so far?